Now, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I find it absolutely fascinating, man. It is a problem like I have never found in my life that I care about. It's like you're building a machine. It's like you're playing a video game. You're building a machine. It's like building a civilization. I don't know if you guys ever recall that video game way back in the day. I don't even know if they've made games since then, but like Civilization, the video game where you kind of just build a civilization and you go from there. And you have to kind of think about all sorts of different aspects of your civilization for it to be strong. So like Age of Empires, like that's another really popular video game. You're building your economy, your farming, but then you also have to think about your military. You have to think about who's where. You have to scout. You have to work all these different things out. That's how I think about this, man. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because of my video game background as a kid, thinking about, okay, this is what I need to do to advance. Okay, this section of my game is excellent, but something else is holding me back, and this is why I'm not advancing. And so this is how we should think about building a body that can squat more, that can deadlift more, that can bench press more. This is where the trickery becomes, because I can, or somebody else can prescribe you a movement. It worked incredibly well for me, but you get nothing out of it. That's because you might have a different aspect, a different factor of your body that's holding you back. And it's up to you to work that out, or your coach or whoever's looking after your training. I get so excited when I sit down and I think about the mechanics of it. So I've been watching myself squat, deadlift, bench press for a very long time. And for somebody that's not in tune with what's going on, just seeing somebody shoot a basketball or squat or a deadlift, they're like, oh yeah, that's strong, or they're not. And that's where the thought ends. With me, I'm literally thinking about, okay, what is holding that person back or me from accelerating that bar quicker? Which structure is responsible? Now, obviously, you can take the mindset of just get everything stronger and you're going to be stronger. Of course, that is the case. If I had $1 trillion, I would have 55 Evos and they would all run a 9/4 mile. That's great, but we don't have that money. And so the money that you have, when you go to the workshop, you go, okay, Mike, what we need to do here is I got to shave a second off my 1/4 mile. What do I got to do? And then you brainstorm what's holding you back from accelerating, from that top speed, from the traction, or whatever the case might be. When I see somebody squat a particular way, and I, call upon all the thousands of different people that I've seen squat and deadlift and move, I'm basically trying to diagnose that person of what is going on. What could that person do right now to make that person better, stronger, faster? That's how I think about it. Having the video game background, having the sporting background, playing soccer and basketball all my life, when you see a play break down, you go, okay, that guy missed his rotation, he didn't call out the screen. This guy thought we were gonna fight over the screen, the other guy switched, all of a sudden the roller was left completely free. It's a simple drop pass and a layup. That's a breakdown of communication. That's what we gotta work with. So next time around, we have to call a timeout, and coach is gonna be like, dude, you gotta call what's going on here. Either we're fighting under the screen, over the screen, or we're switching. We can't be doing everything at once. So in a similar way, when you see somebody squat, when you see yourself squat, you need to have the mentality of what is going on here? What's the weakest link here? And for the longest time, I've thought about, putting in compartments, compartmentalizing it. Okay, is it the push or the pull of the body? But then you start adding in these biarticulate muscles and you go, what is pushing, what is pulling, what is happening somewhere, might not seem somewhere else. It is a very, very complex system. And so you can either completely freeze and go, I don't know what's going on, I'll just carpet bomb everything. Or you can put that sucker on trial and go, okay, I hypothesize that my quads are weak. And if I strengthen my quads, then, back in freaking year 9 science, man, they used to say, how do you make a hypothesis? If, then, those two words have to be in the title, in the hypothesis. If I strengthen my quads, then I will squat better. Run with it, just smash the quads every which way. Now, in my mind, I used to break it down even a step further and go, not just any quad exercise. I want to do lunges, run that for a few weeks. I want to do leg extensions, or sissy squats, Hindu squats, box squats, quarter squats, pin squats. You can keep breaking it down. And so my driver in all of this is not only seeing the GG at the end of the game, good game, but also how do I improve? Because if I just fluke it and something happens, I don't have the utensils, I don't have the methods, I don't have the knowledge of, analyzing what made this successful. I don't know what's weak, what's strong. This is what has sucked me in. A lot of people think, oh, Ivan, blah, 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 this, that, the other. We all have our reasons for doing whatever the hell we're doing. We all have reasons for every single action. For me, it's this, every single time I come in to train, yes, it's a great thing. I'm addicted to something that's really beneficial for my body. Yesterday we were talking about how good it makes you feel, stress reliever, mental health, all of that. But it's also this project. It's the puzzle solving. January 1 or December 31st, I hypothesize my quads for 2023 will be the key. I could be wrong. But I'm not going to sit there and just think to myself until the cows come home, writing all these different, physics formulas, mathematical. We're going to run out there and run it. Okay, I'm going to give it a really good go. I'm going to lunge the hell out of it. I'm going to get really, really good at lunging. I'm going to get really, really good at box squatting or the bench squatting, whatever I'm doing. I want to see my quads change. I want to see my quads develop. I want to see the size on those suckers. And I want to see how my squats progress. So every single day that I come in, I will do some sort of a max effort squat, like, training max squat. So then I have my fingers on the pulse as I'm going through this trial, through this period of brainstorming, testing, fighting the quads. I will see how it makes me feel. Obviously, it's not going to be an overnight thing, but I want to continuously measure. And a lot of people out there are like, no, Ivan, you can't do that. You measure 3 times a year. Measuring means testing your 1 rep max. I like frequent measurements. I like vital signs of my patient every hour. Pulse, heart rate, sats, breathing rate, blood pressure, temperature, GCS, neurobes, all that stuff. I want to know what's going on. Intensive care is what I want to do. I want to have intensive care of my patient. I'm the patient. Of course, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. You can work in a freaking, outpatients where they don't even do freaking obs and patients. Sometimes I have these thoughts and I'm like, why do I love this shit? The reason why I love this shit is because it's the ultimate project. I love it. I am the chief. I am the CEO. I am complete executive power over these decisions. I make the call. I make the hypothesis. And I take the net gain or the net loss. Simple as that. I love it. I don't have that anywhere else in my life. Everywhere else in my life, there is some sort of other shareholder that has some weighing on my decision or whatever the case might be. I don't have it anyway. The last thing I'm going to do is go, Mr. Mark Ripperton, tell me what I should do. What I should do. Look, I'm not saying all these people are, dumb. Consume all of that information, everything that you can get your hands on. Listen, get amongst the community. Listen to also, no one's wrong. Nobody's wrong. And then once you've done all of that, you come back to yourself and go, I have some information, I have the resources, I'm going to make my call and I'm going to go this way. That's simple. That's all we're freaking doing. I don't know. I love it, man. I love it. I'm always thinking about it. The reason I got Instagram, I'll tell you this. The reason I got Instagram was because I could only follow the pages that are weightlifting. So every single time I get on Instagram, it's all lifters, power lifters, Olympic weightlifters, strongmen. It's all like, people doing movements. And my vision for the Instagram was all I want to do is see people squat. That was kind of the first thought. I don't mind seeing other people snatch clean, all that stuff. But I want to assess their movements. And as I'm sitting there flicking through all those squats, I am literally going, I'm going to take my hypothesis of weak and strong quads, and I'm going to run it and see if mentally that makes sense when I see other people. You see people with massive ass quads, squatting up like down like this, like an elevator, like this. No torso lean, nothing. He's just like up and down like this. I've seen guys with really long femurs squat with quads. No, but my genes, man, my femurs are too long. I can't. Okay, let's run it. Let's run this. You have somebody with 55-meter femurs, but the quads are really, really strong. Whatever means he did it. He was hiking for 50 years, and that's how he built his quads. He was cycling for 55 years. That's how he built his quads. He was doing quarter squatting until the cows come home for 55 years. This man has long femurs, but he's got really strong quads. How do you think that person will squat? How do you think that person will squat? This man has no hamstrings. They are like little paper clips. No hamstrings. Just a freak of, this man just went balls deep on quads. How do you think that person will move? This is how I think about these problems. You have somebody that is not meant to have good quads because he's just genetically not made to bend his legs in a proper way. But he's built them with accessories, with machines, with all sorts of quarter squatting, running backwards, sled pulling backwards, all sorts of, so he did everything. He's the quad master. How do you think he will move? Do you think when shit gets heavy, he's going to lean over? He might not look like Lou, but he's going to be assuming positions where it's the path of least resistance. And for him, the least resistance is the strength, the quad. He's going to go into the quad. So I would say he probably has really good dorsiflexion because his body's going to want to bias himself to go into those positions. It's a neuromuscular thing. So the reason your calves are tight, perhaps, is because the central nervous system is telling these structures to tighten up. Because we don't want to send our knee over our toe because we have weak quads. When she gets heavy, vertical shin it and freaking round over like a maniac. That's what the power's at the back, it's not at the front. Just do that. Easy. So when I think about these absolutes, I start to kind of gauge of what the hell is going on. Now I'm playing these tennis matches in my mind all the time, and I catch myself out all the time because I'm not Boris Sheik or even Abajev or any of these guys. I don't have 60 years of knowledge and billion freaking images of people squatting. I have Instagram, but these people are actually in training halls seeing legit elite level lifters all the time. So they've kind of, through repetition of seeing, hearing, feeling, all this stuff around them, they've come to these conclusions. And so when somebody sees somebody, Ivan, you need to do this. I sometimes ask myself, if Ivan Abajev was sitting right here, with his legs crossed, like Bulgarian, puffing on the ciggy between the sets, whatever they used to do, as the stories go, this serious man in the back. If I walked up to him and I said, Mr. Abajev, I know I'm a piece of shit, and I should even be embarrassed being in this training hall, but what do you think I should work on? I reckon, of course he would say squat, but I reckon he would say to me, you are not allowed to back squat. All you're going to be doing is front squatting, and all you're going to be doing is working those squats because you have weak quads. I reckon that's what it is. Because if somebody has really, really strong quads, that person is not going to want to lean over. That's what I think. And if that person has a deadlift of 265 and a squat of 210 or 212, that is an example of posterior chain dominance over the anterior chain. And if I also put information into this mix and say, I have grave difficulties of clearing the squat in the kind of just above the parallel and similar position, I have trouble getting the deadlift off the ground, what is that screaming? I've done upper back, I've done lats, I've done traps, I've done positioning, I've done rocking back on the deadlift, I've done hamstrings, I've done all sorts of stuff. Push, then a pull is what a deadlift is. When you get stuck into that just above parallel position, what is that? Quads. You push. It's all going around in my head right now. You start with the absolute statements. This man has no hamstrings, big quads, he's got really long femurs. How would he move? And then you start to kind of bring those goalposts in, and you kind of start to challenge your philosophy, your hypothesis. That's how I think about this, and I love this stuff. It might sound crazy to you guys, but I genuinely like thinking about this stuff. I genuinely like going on Discord and seeing you guys lift. I genuinely like seeing people lift. I don't care if you're lifting a quarter of a plate or you're lifting 6 plates. There's something beautiful about assessing somebody move. And when I see you move, I think to myself, what is holding this person back? The strongest guy in the world, something is holding him back. There's always a puzzle. There's always something to work out. Anyway, guys, 15 minutes. As you can see, I could talk about this forever. But anyway, I'll tie it up here. Appreciate all of you guys, everyone on Patreon, Discord, Instagram, obviously on YouTube, comments. Really appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.